Blu-ray stacking up, yeah, the collection grows. Singing like nobody's watching, let the good times flow. Movies on repeat, yeah, he living that life. Great guy, big heart, yeah, he doing it right. Screen light glowing while the speakers bang. Sammy G vibing to the scenes and the frames. Love for the art, yeah, the passion stay true. From the first press play to the end credits roll.
Hello all, welcome back to another video and welcome to Sammy G's World of Cinema. Today on the channel, guys, is gonna be a video I've been meaning to do for the longest time. And that is my top 10 Jim Carrey films video. Yeah, I've been meaning to do this for the past few months now. And I thought this would just be a great video to do before I go back to my parents for a few days. I am working today, but then after work I am going back to my parents for a few days. So, yep, I thought this would just be a great, fun video to make, talking about my, favourite Jim Carrey films. And, of course, this is all subjective, guys. This is only just my personal top 10 Jim Carrey films list video, and also yeah, there's just there's no right or wrong here. Yeah, all subjective. And Jim Carrey is an actor that I absolutely love. He's one of my favourite actors, and it's probably going to be no surprise what films are going to be on this list. Now, I will just say there is just a quick few honourable mentions, like The Cable Guy, Bruce Almighty, I Love You, Philip Morris. One I did watch recently, actually, Once Bitten, Ace Ventura, When Nature Calls. I do really like all of those films, don't get us wrong, but they didn't quite make it into like the top 10 there. But yeah, these are all movies I really like, if not I love, for like different reasons. Now, before I do get into the top 10, guys, I just want to say Andy, Forgotten World of Movies, and Jamie Powell did a collab video going through like their favourite Jim Carrey movies. I think it's their top 10 Jim Carrey films video. I haven't actually had a chance to check it out yet, admittedly, but I will put a link into the description box down below to that video, because yeah, I can imagine Jamie, who is a massive Jim Carrey fan, Andy as well, would have done a boss job there, like going through like their favourite Jim Carrey films, like each top 10. So yeah, I'm gonna I'll put a link to that video in the description box down below. And yeah, it's really actually cool to see Andy doing this series with each YouTuber, like favourite films from each actor with a top 10 list. I think that's just such a cool idea for a video series. So anyways, as I say, I've given us a couple of honourable mentions of those films, so I'm going to get right into the top 10 now. Number 10, now, this is the only Jim Carrey movie on the list where Jim Carrey is not in the leading role, but I had to pick, I had to have this in the top 10, because yeah, I just love Jim Carrey's portrayal of the Riddler. I just think this is such an underrated, kind of misunderstood as well, I want to say, like Batman movie, in my opinion, and that is Batman Forever. Yeah, like I say, I know Jim Carrey isn't in the leading role in this film, but Jim Carrey, his presence as the Riddler, his charisma, very, like off-the-wall, flamboyant, and, you can tell, like, his energy levels are just a rise here, and I just had to pick this as part of the top 10, and I just think this is a really cool, daft, cheesy, wild ride of a Batman movie, led by Val Kilmer as Batman, who I thought was a very underrated Bruce Wayne. And yeah, and I thought that, like Jim Carrey, who plays this scientist, he's got like this brainwave sort of like scientific experiment under his belt, and it kind of comes, it kind of is sort of overpowering, and it overtakes like the city of Gotham. And yeah, and also you've got their the Riddler's sort of villainous partnership with Two-Face, played by Tommy Lee Jones. And yeah, I think it's a really fun time of a film, this one. Coming in at number 9, whilst When Nature Calls didn't make it into the top 10, I had to go with Ace Ventura: Pet Detective. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this was this the first comedy film with Jim Carrey, and he led it as well. I just think this is a really boss film, this, guys. Obviously, Jim Carrey is Ventura, based in LA, and, he's kind of wanting to rescue these animals, and he discovers, there's I think it's a missing key ring, I think it is, or and basically, that has some resemblance with the Miami Dolphins, and, so he thinks that is interlinked with the kidnapping of this dolphin who's been adopted. So Ace Ventura has to go investigate on a mission to find this missing dolphin. And it is just so funny, guys. Obviously, you've got the when he's making all those silly facial expressions by the aquarium, full of one-liners. If I'm not back in 5 minutes, just wait longer. Alrighty then, it's just, yeah. And the car chase, it is so funny. And obviously that very intimate scene within the Lion Sleep Tonight. Yeah, very fun movie, that one. And just a really cool idea and premise for a crime comedy. That one led wonderfully by Jim Carrey. That is Ace Ventura: Pet Detective. Then coming in at number 8, one of the early films from the Farley brothers. I think it's mainly directed by Peter Farley, this one. And that is Dumb and Dumber. Yeah, this is just a great comedy film that came out in 1994. Jim Carrey and Jeff Daniels as Harry and Lloyd. What a duo, right? I mean, both have just got fired from their jobs. Lloyd, who's just basically he's this driver, and he basically gives this lady a lift to the airport, and then he discovers that her briefcase is left by the curve. So he tries to return that briefcase to that lady, but little does he know that she's actually involved in this criminal underworld. And, that money was, left for ransom. So basically, Harry and Lloyd decide to go on this fun-loving adventure to find the owner of this, briefcase full of money. But little do they know as well, they're actually being spied upon by, these group of criminals. And it is just a really fun movie, guys. Obviously, the constant pissing scene, and and obviously the scene by the diner, it's just and obviously you've got Harry, who's he's got him in his pet dog in that film. It is just so funny. All that bathroom scene as well, how can I forget that? And when they just turn up at sort of that house party, that gathering, really fun film, that one. That is Dumb and Dumber. Then coming at number 7, to my surprise and first time watch last year, and again from the Farley brothers, and I had such a great time with this film last year for the first time. And that is Me, Myself and Irene. Jim Carrey, who is a state trooper on Rodeo Island, and his wife, he literally just got married to his wife, but then she cheats on him. He has three sons under his care, triplets, and yeah, and oh, there is some really funny scenes with the triplets in this film, especially one scene by the helicopter. That is so funny. And then obviously when they're just all, you know, like they're grown up and they're on the sofa, and they're trying to find each job's really fun movie. But then you've got, it's Hank, who is the split personality, you know, like that kind of the other side to Jim Carrey's character in this film, because one day he just flips and then he becomes like this split personality with Hank, and it really just gets the better of him with his emotions. But then he sort of like he discovers Renée Zellweger's, he basically gives Renée Zellweger's character a ride one day at basically, and they just go on this mad sort of bewildering journey where she's basically, I think, just come out of prison, but she's on the run from her ex-boyfriend. And there's a really cool side story there led by Richard Jenkins, who's like part of the FBI, and they're like on the chase after Renée Zellweger, and Charlie, played by Jim Carrey in this film, also Hank as well, the split personality. But yeah, love the train scene, love there's one scene with the cow as well. Obviously, you've got the scene with the triplets and the helicopter. Yeah, really fun movie, that one. That is Me, Myself, and Irene. Just missing out on the top 5 now, and at number 6, I have gone for Liar, Liar. Yeah, just an awesome, you know, like late 19s comedy, which was just around the time Jim Carrey was just non-stop in the 90s. And this is no exception here, where he plays this lawyer, Fletcher, and he feels like he's divorced to his wife. He has a duty there to be there for his son when he can, and attend his son's birthday party. But, you know, he's just like, he's a workaholic, he's just busy with work. And then his son makes like a wish, saying like for one whole day, Fletcher, his father, can't tell a single lie. And it is kind of an original idea for film at the time. I always think this would make a great double or triple bill with one other film we're going to talk about in a minute in this video, but also The Invention of Lying. I just think they would make for a great triple bill. I'll just say the other film there, Yes Man, as well, which we will talk more about in a minute. But yeah, again, obviously the scene with the blue pen, and again, Jim Carrey, he's like, I object, Your Honor. It's like, yeah, again, so many one-liners in there. That scene when he tells his like colleague like this hidden truth from all those years prior. Yeah, it's just a fun movie. Love the ending to this one as well, where obviously, you know, like he's on a mission to go to like the airport. Just, yeah, really good family-driven film, that one. That is Liar, Liar. Coming in at number 5, I've gone for, yeah, I think this is, yeah, definitely one of Jim Carrey's most beloved roles, and, you know, like one of his kind of, yeah, like one of his most iconic roles, and just really good fun, this one. I revisited this one last year after a number of years, and that is The Mask. Yeah, I think this film doesn't need any introduction. It's just a really fun-loving take on, like, the superhero and, like, you know, sub-genre, whatever you want to call it. This is kind of the film that really defies Jim Carrey's charisma, you know, like, you know, his energy, you know, like his really kind of persona as well. And it's just really good fun here, where, you know, Jim Carrey, he plays Stanley, who I think works like in this bank, and he stumbles upon Cameron Diaz. This is her first ever role, I believe, as Tina. And little does he know that she's got some involvement with these guys that work like part of this mafia organization. This guy played by Peter Green, who is planning to overpower like his boss, who is in command of like this casino, and he's also plotting his plans for like this robbery at this bank, and when they least expect it. Now Stanley wants to see Tina like perform at this casino, and there's a lot of people like giving Stanley the cold shoulder, but then like when he's having the most shite day out there possible, he then his car breaks down, and then I think he stumbles upon this wooden ancient mask which he he finds by like this river, and then he puts on like this wooden mask, and then it kind of changes his life. He becomes like this masked figure character, and then he's and again, that transformation scene's absolutely awesome. But yeah, just love the visual special effects. It does actually remind me a little bit of a Tim Burton movie as well at times, but that production style as well, and it's just the colours are just so vibrant here. The look of like Jim Carrey's like masked figure in this one, and comes out with catchphrases like smoking and party, P-A-R-T-Y, party. Yeah, and obviously you've got that dance scene in the film as well. Just yeah, fun movie, that one, The Mask. And we're going into Champions League territory here, and at number 4, a film that I think, to be honest, now the third film was a first time watch early in the year, but I had to include it because I thought it was just a fantastic first time watch. But yeah, this is one of the Jim Carrey films I have seen the most times, and I don't know if it's controversial that I'm putting this above Dumb and Dumber, Pet Detective, The Mask, but whilst I really like all those movies all the same, this is one of the Jim Carrey movies I just keep coming back to the most. It's almost like a comfort movie for me, and that is Yes Man. Yeah, I just think this is a great time of a comedy, this film is, guys, and would make a great triple bill with The Invention of Lying and even Liar Liar as well, ironically. And yeah, it's just great fun. Obviously, Jim Carrey, who plays this really downbeat character, Carl, and, he kind of works at kind of this dead-end job and keeps himself to himself. He's very trying to keep himself distant from his best friend who's about to get engaged, and that his best friend is played by Bradley Cooper. But then, yeah, he's just does everything he can to make him like the most, kind of one of the most unlikable people out there. But then he decides to go to this this gathering, this meeting, at this chapel, and it's basically it's sort of like the guy played by Terence Stamp. He's kind of he gives like a bit of a lecture, and into kind of allowing people to say the word yes and to any opportunity out there. And when Carl makes this pact that he will say yes to every opportunity out there, again, it's a life-changing, thing for him here. And yeah, this film is just great, guys. It's awesome. Again, when he'll say yes to going I think they're taking on Spanish lessons, or like flying like a plane, these outdoor activities. And then basically there's one scene in there that I actually love, where you've got an appearance from Louis Guzman in there, and that scene where he sings that song, "Wish You Could Step Up Wish you could step away from that ledge, my friend. I will understand. Ah, that's probably my favourite scene of the film. But I love his chemistry with Zoe Deschanel in this film. Obviously, Zoe Deschanel would go on to being in my favourite film ever the following year. You probably know what that is, but yeah. Again, and I do really like, again, like the scene where Zoe Deschanel is featured in like a indie pop band in this film, and she's obviously got her like music career as well around this time. So yeah, but fun movie, that one. Oh yes, I also love the scene when they go to like the Harry Potter like marathon at like this guy's like party, this house party. Yeah, it just fun film. That is yes man there. At number 3 was a first time watch for me earlier in the year, and I had to include this, and I think this is one of Jim Carrey's best performances in this film, and it just goes to show that Jim Carrey can pull off a more like dramatic role as well as like a comedy role, and we really saw Jim Carrey evolve as an actor in the late 90s. There's one other film that kind of really proved to that point, but also this film as well from 1999, Man on the Moon. I think this is just a beautiful film, this one, guys. The biopic of Andy Kaufman, who was in the sitcom Taxi and went on to go on to Saturday Night Live. And, you know, to pull off like these sketches and that, and, you know, he's kind of his own persona, his own identity. And it was just so interesting learning about the life and career of Andy Kaufman, who I knew very little about before watching this film. But yeah, I just think this is a fantastic drama, this one. You know, I really liked learning about kind of like his relationship with the lady in this film, and his friendship with Paul Giamatti, and who plays his like friend in this film. I loved is it Danny DeVito as like his manager. Yeah, just a fantastic drama, this one, guys. And yeah, I also you know, like that ending is really bittersweet, but also it was really interesting. Like Andy Kaufman would go in disguise as someone else and also put on like a comedy actor, like in someone as this character he's playing it like in disguise. And yeah, and then you find Danny DeVito actually discovers that is Andy Kaufman who's playing someone else. Yeah, it's just a really good movie, this one, and very moving towards the end. And again, I just love how when he's on stage, he's like either reading a book or he's playing like a record, and he's kind of trying out new tools from the shed, and you know, like trying to like kind of spice up the variety with like his own like comedy material. Just a fantastic first time watch, that one. Yeah, and I did really like the scene where like he's like part like this, like that boxing match as well. Very good film, that one. That is Man on the Moon at number 3 there. And coming in at second place, and it's going to be no surprise which are the 2 movies now that are making my top 2 here. But not only are these my top 2 favourite Jim Carrey movies, guys, these are also some of my favourite films of all time, and this could have been at number 1 on another day, but yeah, I went with my gut feeling here, and I think it was directed by Peter Weir as well, because this and my favourite Jim Carrey film that we're going to talk about anytime now are my most watched Jim Carrey films. And at number 2, I went for The Truman Show. Now, I remember sitting down like on the sofa one day. It was like, I think I was 12 years old, and I think it was on the TV and like, I think it was recorded off the TV, and I just watched it. and I was thinking, wow, I thought I knew what Jim Carrey was like, but then when I watched that film, it was just at another level where he actually can take on a dramatic role as well. Not that I would ever deny that, but wow, he can actually do a serious role as well. But this is magnificent. This is one of my favourite films of all time. I absolutely love the score to this one. I think it's pretty underrated. It's such an original idea for ahead of its time. Jim Carrey plays Truman, who's, you know, like when he's born, he's, you know, his life is played out in this like 24-hour reality like TV show, and he doesn't realize his life is made out for TV. And you know, he's then, when you see he's reaching into his like 30s, and the realization that everything around him is just an act, it's all done for show. And then, you know, he's starting to realize that actually notices like Easter eggs and things here and there, that like, why is that car at this particular time like rolls into that street every day? Why is everyone stopping for a moment where I'm going to a different corner here and there? And the realization around him, thinking, I don't know what's going on here, but then you're rooting for him. You are rooting for him all the merry way to break out of this like rinse and repeat cycle, this situation, and him too. And there's the actress, the lady who is beautiful in this film, and she's like, when she dates Truman in this film, she actually does warn Truman that this is all make-believe, you know, but then yeah, it's, you know, it's all just for act. You've got to get out of this situation here. And yeah, that is quite a very emotional, impactful scene, that one where like she tries to warn him at the beach. But yeah, this is absolutely fantastic, and that ending is just a stunning way to wrap up what an absolutely incredible film this is, and one of my favourite films of all time. And this is great, and we just follow this main leading character that, you know, you see he's actually living an ordinary life, an everyday guy, but he actually then finds the truth is really out there, and he actually is kind of wanting to function with the real like world out there, have the freedom to go out and live his life in the real world. So there's just a couple beautiful messages behind this film. But yeah, you've also got appearances from Paul Giamatti in this film, and Ed Harris as well. So that is The Truman Show as runner-up, and my second favourite Jim Carrey film there. And my favourite Jim Carrey movie is probably going to be, to no surprise, what it is. And a film that, you know, I've got to say, it wasn't love at first sight. But then, you know, when you start thinking about a movie, you think about why it's that well loved, and then you think about, did I might have missed something here on first viewing? And then you watch it again and you just see the film in a whole new light. And it happened with this film. And again, Jim Carrey, you know, he couldn't have got more far away from a like kind of comedy, or, you know, like role, or, you know, like kind of very wacky, charismatic comedy role. He couldn't get far away from that if he tried with this film. Like, not to say Jim Carrey wasn't up for being in more comedies, because that's what Jim Carrey, as well as this, did the best, and he did those comedy films really proud there. But this is just testament to what a versatile actor he is, and just goes to show that Jim Carrey, there's more to him than a comedy film, because he can go on to playing a serious, dramatic role within this. And that is, of course, the beautiful Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. My goodness, guys, I think this is one of the best films I've ever seen, to be honest. I would put it in my top 20 films of all time. I think it's kind of a beautiful yet tragic love story, in a sense, where, you know, you see this pairing that they actually decide to forget one another, but then they actually re-encounter with one another. Joel and Clementine, played wonderfully by Kate Winslet and Jim Carrey, and, you know, you see they meet each other like at this train station. It's like on a wintry day, and then you find that when Elijah Wood, as Kate Winslet's boyfriend in the film, Joel, played by Jim Carrey, discovers, actually, that why is she all of a sudden, like, who is this guy, and why is he just right outside, like, my car here? But yeah, then it's like Jim Carrey, Joel's parents actually knew that once upon a time ago, Joel and Clement at the time were in a previous relationship. And it's just that sense of beauty, you know, like learning about that, these memories that have been like kind of tragically forgotten, but it still paints the picture of a previous like relationship. And when Jim Carrey is under like this experiment, and then you see him, he's kind of like, you see him kind of within those memories of Clementine, and it just paints the picture of that. You fall in love with the characters, especially, you know, and also, like, I actually do really like, is it David Cross, Mark Ruffalo, their characters, Elijah Wood, Kirsten Dunst. It's just a fantastic watch. I love the music from John Bryan in this film. Really well directed by Michael Gondry, who directed the film The Science of Sleep, which I watched for the first time last month. Charlie Kaufman had his contribution to this, and he would obviously go on to direct, and I think Senator New York and Anomalisa. Beautiful movie. I love the scenes set on like Valentine's Day, or the parade scene, the scene by the beach as well. And you've got like the wonderful music piece titled Phone Call. I love the extended version to that, but yeah, just a wonderful, beautiful movie. And that ending, it just like, it really leaves the film on a great like impactful note as well. And the soundtrack's really good to this one as well. So that is Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. And really interesting side story with Kirsten Dunst as well, and that guy Howard. Yeah, fantastic film, that, and great sense of like poetry to it as well. So that is Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, is my favourite Jim Carrey film. And of course, Jim Carrey is absolutely fantastic in this film as well. So guys, that has been my top 10 Jim Carrey films list video. So yeah, just my personal top 10 Jim Carrey films list video. I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. And do let me know your thoughts on all of these movies, and what's your favourite Jim Carrey movies. I would love to know all that good stuff in the comments down below. And yeah, I've had a fantastic time doing this video, and I'm really looking forward to checking out Andy and Jamie Powell's collab video, talking all things Jim Carrey as well. I think that'll be a fantastic watch. And yeah, one of my favourite actors, and it's awesome to go through my 10 favourite Jim Carrey films. But I will give a couple more honourable mentions, because I did quite like the number 23. And what was the other one? The number 23, The Majestic, directed by Frank Darabont. I thought I'd give a couple more honourable mentions there as well. So, yeah, guys, going back to my parents for a few days, so I think the next video I'm hoping to do when I come back to Blythe will be part 2 of my May 2026 watches, and then it'll be episode 32 of the Unwatched Shelf series. So hope everyone has a wonderful weekend ahead, and I'll be back for more content soon there. So thanks for watching, cheers for stopping by, and until next time, I'll see you for the next video. Bye bye, take care guys, thank you so much.